if they came from a place of balance, then they would probably choose a different path. What do you think?
Okay. Well, I think that's really interesting. And I'd like to add to that, in that the nature of a human being, what is a human being? We take for granted what we are. What we don't realize is that part of me that wants this or wants that, I want to change this or I want to change that. Well, who is it that wants to change? It's just a part of my personality. So my personality wants to change itself. What with? Oh, with my personality. You're not going to win. You're not going to win on that one. We can see that we are unhappy in our world and say, I need to change. And so we assume that we can change by focusing on this is how I want to change.
Mm-hmm.
But that is ego trying to change ego to be more ego in a different way. And it doesn't quite work. At the end of it is precisely what you said, that we have to release our traumas. And we don't. We think we have free will as human beings, but we don't have free will. We're machines. We're physical machines, we're emotional machines, we're mental machines. Within the vehicle, there is no free will. A car doesn't have free will. A car is a machine. And the ego is a machine. We think we have free will, but it's simply conditioning,
mm-hmm.
whether it's physical conditional, emotional, or mental conditioning, but it's all conditioning. We don't choose. We think we choose, and we've deluded ourselves that somehow we have choice in the world. We have no choice. There is no choice. Humanity does not have a choice. This is why astrology works. Astrology can tell you about yourself. How is that possible? The planets can somehow tell me about my ego, because that's what planets do. They tell us about our ego. And so the movement of the planet somehow translates into relationship events and ways of perceiving and ways of being in the world and things happening to me in the world. How is that even possible? Because we exist in a mechanistic universe. Everything is mechanistic, everything. We all affect each other. No one exists in isolation. Everything has an effect on everything else. The planets have an effect on us. And all of that is about our ego, our personality. So if there is no free will within a human being, is there free will anywhere? Yes, there is. But it doesn't reside with the machine. It doesn't reside. It resides with the passenger of the machine. Whoever gets into the machine is the one who says, this is where I'm going to go. So we want to change ourselves, but really what we're trying to do is we're trying to heal ourselves from all the traumas. When people want to change, it's because the world they're in is a painful world, and they want to be somewhere better. And that is how it should be. We should be motivated to release whatever's holding us back from being creative, flexible, artistic, all the good things about being a human being. But all of that, the true process of development of a human being is to acknowledge, to connect with the passenger within, which is the soul fragment. And it's the soul fragment that will motivate us in the right direction and communicate with us as to we need to experience within any particular lifetime. But to get there, to get to that place, we need the physical, the emotional, and the mental to be working together. Because if the three are not working, then we are disconnected from the depths of ourselves, because the depths of ourselves are only available when we clear the decks of all the confusion that exists between the mind and the emotions. And then, of course, the physical body that suffers because we've damaged it, and then we're not functioning properly, and communication between all the various pieces not working properly, and we're in pain, and so on and so forth. So we need to have a healthy body, a healthy mind, healthy emotion for this soul to express itself fully. And unfortunately, we seem to have lost the baby with the bathwater through technological advancements. We've become atheistic, and in our atheism, is that the right word? In our atheism, we've lost the connection with the divinity within each of us. And we think we're just a machine. We think, oh, we're just machines, and life and death doesn't matter. And, we can just be here and have no morality and do whatever it is, because nothing matters. Everything matters. Everything matters. And so trust, coming back to the initial bit of trust, to trust ourselves is literally to work through our traumas so that we can reconnect all three centers, so that we can then make space for the soul within us to come forth through feeling. We spoke about this last time, the difference between emotion and feeling. And feeling is not of this world. Feeling is of the soul. It's when we feel, when we truly feel, when we empathize, when we are truly compassionate, when we are experiencing joy, real joy, all of that comes from the soul. And that's what we aim for. Ideally, that's what we should aim for. And when we get there, then the issue of trust disappears.
Sure. Because
what we trust, the ultimate barometer of trust is to trust is thy will be done. It is when we trust the God's will, soul will, call it what you will, but that's something beyond this dimension, this physical dimension, that operates through every single physical human being, animal, whatever, everything has it. But we as conscious human beings, and some animals, some fish, not fish, but dolphins, there is a conscious expression of the soul dimension. Sorry, I got into a pulpit there.
Poetry. Oh yeah, there are lots of things I'd like to unpack there.
Go for it.
So, and this is not in the order that you talked about. I made a few notes as you were talking. So, you were talking about free will, and this is something that I've thought a lot about and pondered a lot about, and been disappointed with sometimes. To say, well, if I can have my chart done by an astrologer and they can tell me the kind of this true story, they can tell me that I was going to be born into a fundamentalist religious family, that I was going to have these challenges, etc., etc. And then I can go and see a medium who will tell me various things that are going to come. If they're good, which I have been to one that was fantastic, I laid out my entire life. And so you say, where's the free will in that? Then wait a minute, what we're talking about here? And so in my communications with my guides, I've asked this question about, well, what's the point? What would be the point then if we're here, but we actually don't, our path is already laid out. The path's already laid out. And this is a message that I get so often. The path is laid out. The path's laid out. But what they've explained, and I think it's the difference between fate and destiny. It's this, and it's interesting because in Spanish there's only one word. They don't have two words, el destino. No, but anyway, here they've got fate. What they explained to me, the way I understand it, is this: the path is fixed. The beginning, the middle, the end, it's all fixed. There's nothing that we can do to change it. However, if we are the vehicle, we have the choice of how we choose to drive down that path, how we choose to negotiate the curves, how we choose how fast we choose to go, when we choose to brake, etc. That is our destiny, I suppose. And so we have control within the process, but we can't leave the process. The process is fixed. But we can, as somebody who did astrology charts was saying, the chart shows you the path. That's all. You've got to choose how you go down that path. So I think that's where the free will idea. This is a free will planet, which is you can do what you like while you're here, but nothing's going to change the ending. It's fixed. There was something else that you mentioned. Go on.
Well, the vehicle is more like a Tesla. Okay.
Right. In what way?
You think, well, the Tesla's got an onboard computer, right? And modern Teslas, they can drive themselves, and they can go faster and slower and turn whatever, all subject to the conditions of the road and the environment. So, although we think we have free will, we are like the Tesla. We have already inbuilt programs that dictate how we will respond in any particular given moment. That doesn't give you free will. It just gives you the appearance of free will.
Oh, sure.
That's the difference.
Sure, it's an appearance of free will because the thing, you see, that the way that I understand it is this: the free will occurs before we come here. Our free will is exercised before we come here. When we sign the contract, when we choose the exact moment to come in, the stars are aligned at that exact purpose so that we fulfill this exact experience. That's where the free will is. Once we're here, we're on the track. It's like a Scalextric. We're on the track. But the choice that we make happens before. Say again?
I think we need to clarify a little bit more here because, you see, this is the difficulty. When we have the three brains operating, we have self-awareness. If you've only got the two brains operating, there's no self-awareness. You just blindly, blah, blah, blah. But with all three brains, you somehow, we can now see ourselves in motion. We're here, and this gives us a false sense of existence. The fact that we can observe ourselves does not give us free will, and it does not mean that we exist beyond this lifetime. It is the soul within us which joins within the human body at 4 months in the fetus. So at 4 months, the soul blends with the baby inside, and it's there now till death do us part. It's all about soul experiencing. It's not about us experiencing. The problem arises because the soul comes into this body which is surviving in a very damaging environment. in previous times, there was when there weren't so many psychopaths in the world, in fact, there were hardly none, relatively speaking, the adults, the children would be born and they would be helped for that soul to be in full control of that body and experience life to the full. And yeah, sure, there's always issues, problems, whatever, but there was a connection from the soul to the body. There was an integration which allowed the soul to engage in the world in a way which is missing today.
Mm-hmm.
Today, the child is born into damaged parents, into a damaged society, into a damaged culture. And the child is not taught to grow within its gifts, the gifts of the human body. The human body's got a lot of gifts. But unless you learn how to use it, a bike is no good if you can't, if you cannot operate it. You got to get into the bike and drive it.
Sure.
And the human body is so damaged so quickly that the soul doesn't get a look in. And so the challenge is for us to deal with all these suppressed emotions, to really reconnect all the three centers, and then say, okay, take over. Allow the soul to dictate where we go.
Mm.
This doesn't happen for a lot of people because the connection between the passenger and the vehicle is tenuous.
Mm.
And so the messages don't get through. And so this is the challenge. So the challenge of the soul is to somehow be in a human body and learn how to drive it, how to navigate it.
Sure.
It doesn't get a look in for a lot of people. And life is not about us. Life is about the soul experiencing life.
Sure.
Life is literally about let thy will be done. But to get to that point of let thy will be done, we need to integrate the three centers so that our ego can say, okay, I give in, I'm nothing. I'm literally nothing. I acknowledge this. I'm here to be a vehicle to fulfill. So when you speak about destiny, in a way, destiny really is about that. Okay, let thy will be done. I will be guided by my gut feelings, that sort of deep sense within me that will take me wherever I need to go. Mm-hmm. Which everybody gets at little moments here and there. Often they don't listen to it. But nevertheless, we get those promptings to guide us where we need to go. Mm-hmm. Can I just add one more bit?
Absolutely.
Sorry, I'm hogging. It's to do with time. The nature of time. To understand time in a way, we need to understand that only God, whatever God means, beyond creation is whole. Within creation, everything, absolutely everything is fractured. Mm-hmm. Even soul is fractured into multiple souls. It's only one soul, but it's fractured. Humanity is fractured. Within ourselves, we're fractured. I mean, I'm not just me, Sal, the ego, but I've got all manner of organs, and I've got 1,000 billion lives inside of me, all somehow coming together to create me. And it's the same with everybody and everything in the universe, yeah? So everything is fractured. And I think I've lost the plot on this time. So at the moment, we experience time in a fractured way. But time is not fractured. Time is one. but we experience time in a fractured dimension. So previous lifetimes, they're all part of the one moment of time.
Mm-hmm.
However, we are here at this moment. And so up till now, everything from our perspective, everything that's gone on before has solidified, it's been created. That's it, it's done, over, dusted. What is to come has not happened. It's potential. So even when you look at astrology, yes, the planets dictate the events they're going to happen. That is your fate, you can't avoid it. However, there is always black swans.
Mm-hmm.
And we exist in a hugely complex universe. We cannot predict the movement of every single atom in the universe. And so, although at the soul dimension before we're born, we are going to come into the world and with a view of, okay, we're going to work through this, mm-hmm. and we're going to get there, and we'll meet certain people and they will help us, and we'll meet others and we will help them. And we have a name, we have a goal of where we're aiming to go. But that's the potential. But human life is really fast. A fly or an ant compared to us, their lifetime is nothing. Yeah. Our lifetime compared to the earth is nothing.
Mm.
Yeah. So it's all relative, but within us, so in terms of the movement of the planets, time takes a long time. Within ourselves, within the movement of human beings interacting with each other, life's really fast. Mm-hmm. And there's so many potential movements soul cannot predict every single maneuver. So what soul does is it arranges things potentially. In fact, according to Charlie, my source, soul arranges things 8,500 years in advance. So what we're experiencing now has already been planned 8,500 years in the past, and that is no guarantee that it will happen exactly.
Sure.
Because we move so fast, so many interactions happened, that the person we're supposed to meet, the connection we're supposed to make, the book we're supposed to read, the idea that's supposed to come our way, so that we will continue growing and we will continue dealing with our traumas and making more and more room for soul to express itself. It's not guaranteed to the nth degree. Mm-hmm. It is meant to happen. Potentially it will happen, but not necessarily in the way we expect it to happen when it's meant to happen. So there's a level of uncertainty in the universe, because nothing can be guaranteed, but only because we cannot take into account every single molecule that exists in the universe as to which way it's going to move, because something else could walk into it and get destabilized. They talk about the butterfly flaps its wing on the other side in Japan, and we get a thunderstorm over here or whatever. So it's that symbolism.
Mm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.